Hi guys, I'm here today to talk to you about organising your content. Now this is where you take your jumble of files, your tutorials, your news, your press releases, all of that kind of information that you want to be sharing with your community through your blog, and we're just putting a little bit of organisation around it. So as I mentioned in the Blogging for Profit series, lesson 3, this is actually a really crucial step to organise your thoughts, organise your content, so that your visitors, your viewers, random strangers who may suddenly become your best customers ever can find the content that they are looking for easily, simply, and then follow it through to its logical conclusion, whether that be that you're selling yarn, or you're selling a pattern, or you're selling a course. They need to be able to follow through your content to be able to get to the point where they have a relationship with you, where they love your content, and where they're willing to spend some cash with you, which is obviously what you would like at the end of the day. So the first thing I'm going to ask you to do, you should already have completed the homework from last lesson, which is to start to think about your blog. There was a whole host of other areas that you need to think about, but what we're focusing in on today is the actual content of your site. And create a mind map. If you don't know what a mind map is, this is one of those things, and I'll just read you through. So I've got in the very center here, we've got content, and then coming off of that, I've got the different types of content that I do with Yarn Academy. So I've got reviews, tutorials, news, offers, product launches, and community. And then for each of those items, then there are other topics that come off of that. So as you're thinking about tutorials, you could think about mini courses or paid content or videos. For offers, there's test services or discounts. For reviews, I have a lot more ideas around reviews. There's way more things on reviews than there is for anything else. So there's apps, there's yarn, there's patterns, there's services, there's accessories. I mean, there's so many things that you can review. It's unbelievable. Then there's the community, the items that you want to do to drive your community. So you could have quizzes, you could have competitions, you could run giveaways, you could feature interviews, or you could feature particular contributors. So the people who've contributed the most to your community, you could get a highlight and thank you. And there's all sorts of ways that you can build your community. And then there's also a section for product launches. So that could be patterns or yarns or stitch markers, training, for me, memberships. And so all of that is jotted down, sort of higgledy-piggledy in a mind map. Now what I'll do is I will post a photograph of this in lesson 3, so that you can see it rather than me just waving it up and down. But once you've put your thoughts down, if you spend about no more than 15 minutes, just sort of brainstorming onto the page and just connecting things through where they make logical sense to your brain, and then you can translate them, yet another piece of paper here, to a structure that is more organised. So again, I'll share a photograph of this, but here I've got home, blog, training. Under training, I've then got mosaic or blogging for profit, or that would be actual training courses. Under then, I've then got resources for calendars, calculators, etc., skills, marketing, members, content, submission calls. I'm going to sneeze, sorry. Excuse me. Special offers, directory for work with Babs. Oh, excuse me. So that's Embark Mastermind, one-to-one, course tutors, or reviews. So there's a whole host of different ways that you can organise that content. And we're going from brain dump over here, which is not very structured, to a more organised way of looking at your content. So if somebody is looking for some training, they can go and look in training, and it could be that you have a series of knitting techniques or crochet techniques, or you're training people how to dye yarn or how to wind yarn. You could have a host of resources available for you. If you dye yarn, you could be talking about the different colorways, and you could blog around colour and the power of colour, the meaning of colour, how you use a colour wheel to select your colour tones or the palette for your next project. So there's all sorts of ways that you can organise your blog content, but what you really need to do is, first off, from the homework from last time, think about the content that you want to be writing, the type of content, and maybe just come up with some titles so that you can then use those titles to start your brain dump process, so that you can mind map the type of content that you're going to be looking at. And then once you've got your mind map, you can then convert that through to a more formalized categories approach. Now, categories will make it very, very easy for you to then organise through menus and other structures, which I will come on to later in the training. But first of all, you really do need to get your head around how you're going to be organising that information, and not just how it makes your life easier as the owner of the blog, but how it makes your readers, your viewers' lives easier for them to be able to follow along and find the information they're looking for. Now, in the lesson, I actually talk about categories and tags and the difference between the two of them. And in the next session, I'll be talking you through how to actually start creating those categories, how to set them up technically. And we're going to be looking at installing and we'll be looking at installing WordPress itself. So we will start to get our hands dirty, if you like, next time around. And for those of you who already have a blog, please run through this process for the content that you have currently and the structure that you have, and compare the two to see if you are using the most effective content controls and content structure for the content that you are producing. Because again, not always does the world go in the direction we're expecting, and sometimes how we think that our blog is going to perform is not what actually ends up being the result, the real world result. So take a review of what the structure is currently and what you think might suit your content best, because it's not always what you've got, and it's absolutely fine to adjust and change direction and to pivot so that your customers are definitely going to be seeing the content in the easiest and most effective way possible. So carry on reading through lesson 3, and if you've got any other questions or comments, then use the hashtags in the lesson and I will answer those questions for you. Till then.